what I'm working on right now is I have this DOM. These are becoming tubes, sleeves for the kingpin bushing removal tools, and basically it's a big 3/4 inch 7-inch long bolt, and that goes on there, and then when you go to remove the top bushing in the spindle, this acts kind of as an alignment, which is why I chose a big bolt instead of just simply taking the tube and trying to hammer the tube onto the bushing to get it out. It's not as important coming out as it is using these to put them back in. That's when you really want the extra alignment. So I still need to trim it. I still need to bore it a little bit to fit over that bolt the way I want it to. So I've cut these on the bandsaw, and then I just hit them on the high-speed belt sander, take the burr off. So they're all fairly close. I've got this set for right around 1/4 inch. It doesn't matter exactly where it's set, but I did set G54 to be right on that front edge. I do the face cut with the short boring bar because it's installed and I don't want to change tools on the tool post. Then I go in and I do the rough cut, the finish pass. It comes out. It does an M1, it goes to G30, which I have way back here to get everything out of my way, because with the chip shield on here, the chip shield I have overhang so that it can block anything getting thrown out of between the tube and the jaw right here, the plate chuck. So I have it hanging over, well, so it's still like that. It makes it really cramped. Okay, so I just have the G30 set way back so that my chip guard is more out of the way and I don't have to keep moving it. Then I'll go in, I'll grab, it'll stay spinning. The M1 just stops the carriage, the saddle. I'll go in and I'll hit it with the deburring tool and the file. And then I'll hit cycle start again and it does an M5 and shuts off. And that's where the challenge was before, was getting it to shut off and stay there. Well, it finally dawned on me this morning, I got to give it another M1 after the M5. Otherwise, it just blows right through the M5. Duh. I don't know why I didn't figure that out before. Because the M5 is telling it to stop the spindle, not telling it to stop the saddle. So if you do an M1 first, it stops this. And then you do an M5, it starts to stop this, but there's nothing telling it to stop the saddle again. That first M1's already gone. So now I put an M1 in after the M5 and perfect. Okay, it was already M1'd. Then it goes in and shuts the spindle off and it's still in M1, so then I hit cycle start. It M5 so that I can flip this over and do the other side. And since the dimensions, the length isn't critical at all, I just use that same tool, the same depth stop, to set it. Now there's a big burr on the back side there, and I got to kind of get a little creative with exactly how I set it. But then it goes through and I copied and pasted the first facing operation to the end of the code, and then I do the same thing. I tell it go to G30, M1, then I do the deburring tool and the file, and then I click cycle start again, and that hits the M30, which shuts it all down, stops the spindle, everything like that. So it's going to make so much noise. That's why I figured I'd try to explain it ahead of time, but the mist coolant is the loudest. And I do that deburring tool fairly aggressive there. Well, I already explained that. So it's got a nasty burr there. which throws off the depth stop unless you kind of catch it on the little flat that's outside of the burr. I cut some extra blanks and I was about to stop and I thought, you know, I don't need the tools, the extra sleeves right now. I made enough to fill orders that I've got, and then it dawned on me, I was like, oh wait, the 065 wall tubing comes in Friday or Monday. So since I had the tubing cut, I thought, well, I'm going to get the last of it cut up, last of it machined. I'll have a couple extras, and then that way when I come back to this, I can modify the code for the 065 wall instead of the 120 wall, because I don't want to use up the 120 wall because that's for a different part that I need to make. Yeah, see that finish? That's nice. I'm doing a fairly big chamfer there, but I'm just doing it with a deburring tool, and then I'm just hitting it with a file here. On all bolts pretty much, there's a radius under here. So I do the radius on a bit on the bigger side so that it doesn't want to splay or split the tubing, you know, if it was a tight square edge in there going up against that fillet.